So then the next day, we head back to the tomb of the Necro Lord. And so we go into the main room, and I think maybe we're gonna let's just try the other room. So let's go to. Okay, so Tomb of the Necro Lord. We're gonna go in and we're gonna try this door. So we're gonna roll. So let's see. We're gonna roll a 1d6 for this door. And it's a 4. It's stuck. So we're going to do a strength check. So let's have our Orc Fighter do a strength check. And it's a 4, so that's plenty. So we go ahead and we open this door. So let's shade that in. And then we're going to roll 2d6 to see how big this room is. It's 11. So let's go ahead. That's going to be our new room. And then for each room, we roll a 1d3 for additional doors. There's one additional door. Let's make it right here. Yeah, right in the middle. We'll put it right there. And let's see what kind of room this is. It's a big room. It is 1. It's dirt. So this is 11, and it's a dirt, and this is our third room. And dirt. This room has a dirt floor. There's no effect, so that's great. So let's then go and take a look at our PDF, and we're gonna look at what sort of monsters there are. So let's roll a 1d6, and it's a 2. So it's crawling hands. And let's roll another 1d6 to see how many there are. There are 2 crawling hands. Okay. There's my sutured beast. Okay, let's do crawling hands in room 3. And what are we got? We got H is 1. Will damage is... No. 1d3. Almost did Cannibal Bat. And life force is 7. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead. We're going to enter combat, and we're going to do bravery. Both of these guys have 1s. Both fail. So they see these crawling hands, these hands crawling around on the floor. There's 2 of them. And so they're going to do 1d3 is 2 will damage to each Orc Fighter and Halfling Ranger. So I'm just writing Orc Fighter, Halfling Ranger, and so we've got 26, 22, and 26, 22. And they did, the crawling hands did 2 each. So we're at 20. And now ranged. The ranger is going to try to do a ranged attack with the rock sling. So we're going to roll against dex. And we are proficient in dexterity. So we've got 4. So we're going to roll 2 dice. And we succeeded with both of them. So we're going to do 1d6, or I'm sorry, 1d3 damage to one of the hands. So 1 damage takes one of them to 6. And now we're going to do melee attack. We'll go ahead with the ranger. Ranger has a strength of 2, no proficiency, so we're going to roll. And that's a 6. That's a failure no matter what anyway. And so the Halfling Ranger takes 1 damage. And now we're going to do proficient attack with the Orc Fighter. And that's definitely a success. And it's going to be 1d3 damage. So that's 2. So that hand is down to 4. And now we decide whether to run away. We're not going to run away, so then we go back to the top. So both of my characters roll willpower, or bravery. Actually, amazingly, the Orc Fighter succeeds, but the Halfling does not, and so takes 1d3, takes 2 willpower damage, down to 18. We're going to do a ranged attack against one of the crawling hands. Double 5s, which is not a success. Okay, so that's a miss. And now we're going to go to melee. Halfling Ranger is going to try a single strength attack with 2. And actually succeeds, amazingly. And so does 1d3, which is 2, which takes this hand down to 2 hit points. And then we're going to do our Orc Fighter is going to do a melee attack with proficiency. And luckily we did proficiency because we got a 3 there. So now we're going to roll a 1d3 damage. And that's 2. That's going to get rid of this hand. But we have another hand that's still completely fresh. So we're going to roll our bravery. Now we're rolling around to the top again. We're going to roll bravery. And we're going to see how that goes. And wow, the fighter manages to roll bravery again. The halfling does not. The halfling suffers 1d3 willpower damage, 2 points, so it's down to 16. Wow, this is weird. Now we're going to do ranged attack. Halfling Ranger is going to try with proficiency to beat to match or beat a 4, and manages. And does 1d3 range damage. Actually, so a full 3. Wow, okay, that's awesome. That other hand is down to 4. Now we're going to go to melee damage. Halfling Ranger is going to try and roll without proficiency against a 2. Fails and takes 1 damage. Is down to 24. Now the Orc Fighter is going to roll with proficiency against 5. And makes it barely. Luckily we had the 2 dice. And then is going to roll a 1d3 damage. Is only a 1, so that takes that hand down to 3. And now we're back up at the top to bravery. They both make it. Wow, look at that. That's wild. Cool. So Halfling Ranger is going to try ranged with proficiency. Manages to make it this time. And rolls 1d3 damage. And actually manages to skewer that hand with a rock. Skewer, or like bonks it on the I don't know, pointer on the pointer finger with a rock, and it just flops over dead. So there's 2 crawling hands that have like just plopped over dead, and we've cleared this room. That's awesome. Okay, we did suffer some damage, not a whole lot, mostly willpower damage, which is not great. So now we're going to loot the room. Let's go back to this PDFs again. Treasure rolls. Okay, just to remember. Yeah, okay, so we're going to roll a 1d6, and we get this much gold unless we get a 6. So let's roll it and see. So we got a 3. So we get 3 gold to share, and then we have to decide what to do next. Shall we just open this door? Let's try this door. So let's roll on the table for doors and see what we get. It is a 1. It's a trap. Wisdom check or take 1d3 H damage. Okay, so we're going to do a wisdom check or a wits check. That's going to be our our Orc Fighter is going to open the door. Fails that and takes 1d3. So 2. So our Orc Fighter has now gone down to 24. But we can now go through this door, and then we roll 2d6 to see how big the room is. It's only 6. So let's go ahead and make this 6. And then let's roll another die to see how many, 1d3 to see how many doors there are. So there's one other door. Let's make it up here. And now let's roll on the monster table to see what we get. 1d6. What do we get? 2. More crawling hands. How many crawling hands do we get this time? We get 3 crawling hands this time. Oh, and I forgot to roll on room type. Hold on. So let's roll on room type and just sort of see really quickly. This is a 5. This is a butchery. Bloody severed hands, legs, and other body parts hang from the ceiling. +1 on all charisma checks. So that's our bravery checks. We're going to fail those anyway, so that's great. We're going to lose a lot of willpower in this room. But so, so this is a butchery. If we had met all of the creatures, we might have met our boss here. But no. So like there's all these body parts, and in the body parts there's 3 more severed hands. So actually we open the door and we see there's like bloody tracks from where those other 2 crawling hands had left the room, like crawled underneath the door. And now there's another 3 sort of coming in from the edges. So let's go ahead. We're going to roll our bravery to see how we do. And remember, it's +1, so we can't win. Yeah, so Orc Fighter could have passed, but the Halfling just completely freaks out. I think the Halfling, having been so near death, is really on edge. So we're going to take 1d3 willpower damage. Wow. Okay, so Orc Fighter takes 3. Halfling takes 1. So Halfling Ranger is very susceptible to being freaked out, but it actually has a lot of heart still, a lot of willpower. Yeah, I think that the Orc Fighter is just like, and so we're gonna do, the Ranger is gonna attack ranged with proficiency, and makes it, and rolls a 1d3, and does 3 whole damage. That's awesome. Now we're going to do, the Ranger is going to do strength without proficiency, and fails it, and takes 1 damage. And now the Orc Fighter, I keep thinking barbarian, but that's not right. The Orc Fighter, we could call him a barbarian, is going to do melee with proficiency, and definitely makes it, and does 1d3, which is only 1, so we're going to take that down to 3. We're back up at the top. We're going to do bravery, and both fail, and both take, wow, they both take 2. Okay, and then our Halfling Ranger is going to try with proficiency to do a distance ranged attack, and succeeds and does only 1 point of damage, and then is going to try without proficiency to do melee, and fails, and so takes 1 hit point of damage. And then our Ranger is going to try a melee attack with proficiency, and succeeds and does 3, which is going to kill this one. And now we're back up at the top. We're going to do bravery. Halfling would have made it, but because of the room, fails. So they both take 1d3, 1 and 3. Did I just take that? I just took that off of... Yeah, I just took that off of heart health. It should have been down here. So this is 12. That I just screwed that up. Halfling Ranger is still at 22 heart health. Okay, and then we're going to try to do ranged attack with proficiency by the Ranger with that sling, and succeeds. 1 and a 6. And does how much damage? 2 points of damage. And then tries to do melee without proficiency, and actually succeeds and does 1d3. does another 2. Now our Orc Fighter is going to do melee with proficiency. Succeeds and does only 1 point of damage. Oh, come on. And then we're back up at the top. We're going to do bravery. And they both fail. And they both take some willpower damage. Not a lot, only 1 each. So 11 and 11. Oh, wow. We're both at 11. And now we are at ranged. So Ranger is going to try with the sling. And fails. And then is going to do melee damage against strength. And fails. And takes 1 point of damage. Sorry, I don't need to roll for that. Now we're at 21. Now the Orc Fighter is going to roll with advantage. I mean proficiency. And succeeds. And rolls how much damage? Ooh, a full 3 damage, which takes the second crawling hands out. Now we're back up to bravery. And almost would have made it except for the room. And so we're going to do 1d3 willpower damage to each. So that's only 1 point to the Ranger, but it's 3 points to the Fighter. Okay, and now we're going to do, the Ranger is going to use the sling to do a ranged attack. And succeeds, double 2s, awesome. How much damage? Is 1 point of damage, so that takes this last one down to 6. And then is going to try to attack with that short sword. And fails by 1 point. And so is going to take 1 point of damage. And now the Fighter is going to go up with their punching dagger. And succeeds. And does a full 3 points of damage. Whoa. I got really excited about the 3 points of damage there. And now we're back up to bravery. And of course we both fail. And we both get some damage. Only 1 point of will damage. So 9 and 7. Ranger is going to use that sling to try and shoot a rock at this last crawling hand. And succeeds. And does a full 3 points of damage. Man, the Ranger is pretty good with that. So that's the other crawling hands dead. So that's all 3 in this room. Now we're going to roll for treasure. And we rolled 5, so that's another 5 gold pieces. Now, we have to decide. We've managed to collect 8 gold, which is pretty good. Let's try and remember really quickly what our what can we get with 8 gold? We could get some pretty good weapons. We could get a longbow for 6, sell the sling back, get the longbow, sell the punching dagger, and then get like a warhammer or something. We could also get shields, cloak, chainmail. Should we go back and get some better weapons? Or should we open one more door? We've still got a lot of hit points. You know, if our willpower degrades to 0, we do get a penalty of 1 on our rolls. But we're still doing pretty good. But should we push our luck? I think no. We're gonna go and get some weapons and then come back. And because we are leaving, we're packing up. We're grabbing these things, the gold, and maybe making a necklace out of the hands. I mean, why would the orc not do that, right? No, except we're gonna gross out the townspeople. They're gonna freak out. So maybe we make it, and then we realize that like the halfling looks at us like, dude, that's not gonna fly. That's not fashion. And then so we're gonna stash it like behind a rock outside, and maybe the coyotes will get it and we'll never see it again, or we'll forget that it exists. But we're gonna take our gold, we're gonna head out, we're gonna get better weapons, and then we're gonna come back. Now, one of the things to keep in mind is that when we exit the dungeon, we have to check and see if those rooms now have things in it. So we're gonna have to do that this time. We didn't this time because we didn't re-enter the same room, but we will this next time that we go in, we will have to go through a room that we've sort of abandoned to see if it gets repopulated. So that'll be something new. So we'll have better weapons, and then we'll have to check and see if the rooms are repopulated. But there we go. That's 2 characters. It does work out a lot better if you've got that extra character not dying quite as fast. That's for sure. Yeah, so I don't know. Maybe it is okay that it's balanced. So I was gonna try something different with the way the ranged and melee, but even still, with that ranger being forced to do melee attacks, having the orc fighter there actually helps enough that that maybe it works out. Okay. Yeah. Well, thanks for hanging out and watching that experiment, and we'll dive in again next time.